Hi everyone, FPL Useless here, being useless at FPL, so you don't have to. And I thought I'd do a video here. It's a little different from what I normally do, but all about wildcards, because I've seen loads of stuff on Twitter and places, people asking a lot of questions about wildcards. Maybe people are new to the game or can't remember certain things. So got a few questions. Even if you have played for a while, there are certain things about the wildcard that are maybe not really obvious. Certain things you might need to take into consideration. So even if even if you played a while, some of these tips might be pretty useful. So I'm going to talk about basically what the wildcard is, when to use it, and some things to consider, things to think about as well. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep it quick. I do have a tendency to ramble on sometimes, so apologies for that. But a wildcard is a chip on FPL which you can press and you get unlimited transfers for that whole week. You can make as many changes as you want, and it doesn't affect. You don't get a penalty for it, so you don't get a -4. Normally, you get one per week, and you can roll one, and you get two. And if you do more than that, then you get -4. If you use this chip, you don't get any minus. You keep the team going forward into the next week. The other chip that is similar is the free hit, and it's exactly the same except that you get your previous team back. So just bear that in mind. So when to use it, some things to think about. Well, first off, it's your team, so when you want to use it, you use it. If you think your team needs it, or you just are sick of your team, then that's as valid a reason as any to change it and use the wildcard. It's an important tool. You can do that if you like. Also, if you think that your team needs one, because when you use it will be totally team dependent. So don't let other people tell you when to use it, but you have a look, and if your team looks really bad, or take that with a pinch of salt, because sometimes you can look at your team and think, oh my goodness, this looks terrible. But actually, have a look at what it's going to be like in the next few weeks as well. And you need to compare whether or not the team you would be bringing in is better, not only for this week, but for the ongoing weeks too. But if you have loads of injuries and things like that, or players that are just not playing, you've got problems. Maybe you've got someone like maybe you've got like Saka or a Madison or a Chilwell. People that have got flags, have got injuries, then that's also a very valid time to bring your wild card forward. And although you may have planned to use it at a different week, there's no problem moving it then and moving it because of factors like injuries. Then the other things you could be thinking about are fixtures, which we will have a look at in a second. See where there are some good fixture swings. So where certain teams seem to have a lot of better fixtures coming up and some have harder fixtures. Obviously, there's no guarantee that, and sometimes the better teams can easily still get points in FPL even against the harder fixtures. So against the harder teams, shall we say? And also another thing to think about is, are there any blank or double game weeks? Because a wildcard can help you to navigate those. It can set you up for them as well. So you could, if there's a double game week where some teams are playing twice in the week, you might want to bring in players for that game week. Or you could do it the other way. You could bring in those players with normal transfers, and you could transfer them all out using your wildcard. So that you don't have them long term if those are players you didn't want long term. So some different things there. So let's have a look at some fixture swings coming up then. So fixtures are a really important thing to be thinking about anyway in your team. What fixtures do your players have coming up? Where are they likely to score points? So use that. You can get all this information just on the normal FPL website or app. If you click on fixtures, it will show you them. So, for example, Aston Villa from game week 8 have some really favourable fixtures coming up, like Wolves, West Ham, Luton, Nottingham Forest away, Fulham at home, and then it's Spurs away. So it could be. Now I'm thinking about wildcarding game week 8. So that would be a very good idea to maybe getting some Aston Villa players. Um, if you look more short term, Bournemouth there have some decent fixtures. Brighton have some good fixtures from game week 10. So if you were thinking about game week 10 wild card, they would be an option. Or you could have maybe a Brighton player that you keep on the bench. So it's just looking at different options there. Liverpool have some great fixtures coming up, whereas Chelsea from game week 9 onwards have quite bad fixtures. So from game week 9 they have Arsenal at home, Brentford at home, Tottenham away, City at home, Newcastle away. So it could be a great idea to get rid of some of your Chelsea assets and bring in some of these other teams like Aston Villa, like Spurs, Manchester City, not Manchester City. Manchester City have harder fixtures. You could get rid of some of your Manchester City players. What's the other one? Oh, Newcastle. Newcastle have some great fixtures as well. Also, West Ham have some good fixture swing. So look at these and decide which kind of players you want to bring in, which ones you want to bring out, and whether it's good for the long term. So some other things to think about. When you're wildcarding, you may or may not be aware, but your team value still increases or decreases. So you can make advantage of this by bringing in players which will go up in price. Remember, the value of a player goes up if enough people bring him in, and if loads of people sell him, his value will go down. But you will only gain that money if you sell the player if it goes up twice. So let's say a player is 5 million and he goes up to 5.1. If you sell him, you only get 5 million. If he goes up to 5.2 million, you will sell him for 5.1 million. Now, this is very important when you're doing your wildcard, because if you are changing lots of players around and you click confirm, what will happen if you then think you want to bring that player back? So let's say I don't know, let's say for example Chilwell, let's say he's 5.5 million and he goes up to 5.7 million, right? You had him from the start, so you sell him for 5.6 million. And then you think, no, I really want him back for some reason, just for example, and you bring him back into your team, you will have to pay 5.7 million, but you sold him for 5.6. So you've just lost 0.1 million. So you can easily lose team value if you're swapping a lot of players around. It's really important to be very sure about who you want in your team, because you might lose team value and it may mean that you then can't get to the team that you could have got to before. So use a team planner. FPL.team is a good one. I'll put a link in the description if I can find it. But that's definitely a really good tip. So make sure that you're not swapping, too many, or that you're really sure on the players you want. Because you might end up that you just can't get to the players that you wanted, and you lose team value without even realizing it. Another thing to be aware of is that any transfers you made before that point, when you click wildcard, will no longer be valid and you won't lose any points. So if you had already taken a -8 or something, and you click wildcard, it will be as though that didn't happen. It will just be wildcard. When you wildcard, even if you have 2 free transfers now, next week you will go back to only 1 free transfer. So you don't roll any transfers if you use a wildcard, and the same for a free hit. And the previous thing applies for free hit as well. So if you've made a mistake at any point and you're kind of messing about on your team and you've made 15 different transfers and then you accidentally click confirm and you think, oh no, I've ruined my team, well, you can use your free hit or your wild card to sort that out. I mean, you'll lose that chip, but you won't lose you won't get any minus points from that. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys out. I'm probably using my wild card next week. So if you'd be interested, I will probably be bringing out a video next week, which will be my wild card. Probably a bit different from other people's, because I like to be a bit different. And I'll see you later, guys. Bye.